Technology and Human Values by Amelia Robb. From the first tools made from stone to modern-day artificial intelligence, technology has had both positive and negative effects on many people, and it will continue to for the rest of time. Looking around at the world today, it is unrecognizable from 100 years ago. Technologies such as social media, messaging apps, and online forums have altered how people communicate, leading to changes in behavior and communication. Those that were once not connected with the rest of the world now have the opportunity to join in. I like to think of this as a puzzle piece because now, because of technology, people are more connected, almost like a puzzle, and we fit perfectly together. My thesis and argument: the interaction between technology and values is a complex dynamic that shapes societal norms and what people think is normal and expected of them, ethical standards, what people think is good or bad, and cultural identity and how people perceive different cultures and people, influencing both the development and adoption of technological innovations. Societal norms and how people think is a good way to act and how everyone is perceived. Since 1876, when the first phones were invented, society began to change immensely. In the 21st century, people use phones for almost everything from navigation, instructions, finance, and even global news. When walking around, it is normal to see people on their smartphones. This is a horrible habit for people, and it almost becomes like an addiction. More and more people are in car accidents due to people texting and driving. Phones have led to people having social anxiety and less eye contact as well. It has caused Gen Z and other generations to not be able to communicate face to face. It is not uncommon to see two people in the same room texting to avoid speaking to one another, which can also lead to more mental health issues and more social anxiety. Phones can also have beneficial properties. Phones can help with early developmental skills, overall learning capabilities, and everyday lifestyles. Like learning games are available such as ABC Math and PBS Play and Learn for kids. Phones have the capability for calendars and helping people with their everyday health benefits in everyday lives, like scheduling, making life ultimately easier, and it helps with reminders and unlimited data readily available. And phones can be very beneficial, especially with all the negative effects that they have. A big part of the impact technology has on society depends on how people use it. In the wrong hands, it can be very harmful, but technology is what people want, whether or not its effects are good or bad. People don't care, they just want the technology because it's helping them in some way, shape, or form. What people value in life plays a huge role in how technology advances. Because when new advances are being made, people look for what people want, not what they need, because it helps the economy. So for instance, when people want to help the environment, more and more hybrid or electric cars are being made. Technologies are made in the sense of humans' practical needs and capabilities, and people's values are being appreciated when more and more electric cars are being made, and it's sort of the new norm on the roads. Another value is how social media and other apps are being used. If you make sure you're using social media for genuinely social purposes, with conscious thought about how it can improve your life and your relationship, you'll be far more likely to enjoy your digital existence and not have the influences affect how you act or think and not cause mental illnesses and anxiety. Teenagers have a tendency to follow what they see on social media to the extent that they even take their own lives. In not so good cases, social media can cause insecurities, which can affect later generations, leading to change in societal norms and how people should be perceived, because social media is ultimately showing people fake news. People need to learn to draw a line between personal life and fake news and what they are trying to follow. Some people choose to stay in the past and use as little technology as possible to avoid these challenges and bad effects. Others adopt new technologies because it is an improvement to their lives in one way, shape, or form. There's more efficiency, it is cheaper, it can also help with health issues. For instance, Dexcoms help people stay alive basically just simply on their phone, and apps can actually be helpful whether or not people think or not. But with social media, it's not a productive use of technology in today's society. People need to find a way to use technology in a productive way to actually use it to its full potential and what it's actually supposed to be used for. The future depends on the decisions of the 21st century. Whatever people of the 21st century develop wrong can lead to a future society that is dependent on non-ethical ideas or bad ideas. Progression in the world is inevitable, good or bad. Technology is a sign of progress, and progress drives everything. So advancements will never stop, and people need to learn to adapt with them. Ethical standards. Ethical standards are continually challenged with the use of technology. Many issues arise that people don't know whether or not to consider ethical, and there's a lot of debates about them. For instance, data privacy and biases. There needs to be a strict balance between technological advancements and ethical standards to meet people's needs, because one of the most important things that people are trying to follow in the world is meeting people's needs to make the world better. The leading ethical debate of the 21st century is actually the production of personal data. With technology being so widespread, there's more of a widespread collection of people's personal data, which is like a breach of privacy. Sometimes this data is used for good, like algorithms to help future technology work better, but other times it can be used against a person for personal gain or even for money. Regulations have been put in place, like the General Data Protection Regulation, to establish guidelines for people to maintain safe use of all technology. People need to know the difference between what is right and wrong when using technology. A tremendous example of this in today's world of something being ethical or not would be the use of Ozempic on non-diabetic people. With so many people using it to lose weight, there is not enough left for people who truly need it to save their lives. So which one is more important, a diabetic mediation or weight loss that can be ultimately lost in other ways? Another great example is stem cell research. Is it ethical or not? Unimplanted human embryos are being destroyed 6 to 8 weeks into development, but it is for a good cause in the long run. It's not illegal and there's no federal funding, so the government cannot shut it down. A lot of people feel that it is unethical, even though the research can help save lives. So where are our values with this technology? And should they change? Another technology is artificial intelligence and autonomous vehicles. The big question is whether or not who should be held accountable if something bad happens. People know the risks of technology, but is it worth it? Do people understand how AI works and all the algorithms work in their daily lives? Consumers need to know that the world is advancing too quickly and not everything is going to be just the way they want it to be, and to value their beliefs and their wants and needs. By incorporating ethical standards into people's daily lives, societies can use technology to its fullest potential without having to worry about all the bad. People's privacy will be protected and everyone will be happy, possibly. As technology continues to advance, regulations are extremely needed, especially with more emerging challenges and even opportunities for people daily. Cultural identity. Technology exceedingly shapes culture and human values. The interaction between technology and culture is very complex, I would say. It impacts how culture defines themselves, communicate, and most importantly, how they express themselves. Technology can help with preserving and helping cultural identities evolve into the future. On social media platforms, communities can share stories, music, and languages about specific cultures. However, digital platforms can also pose threats towards cultures and they can be diluted. There can also be big digital divides due to the fact that not everyone has access to technology. This can help drive demands for different forms of technological advancements for everyone's values and needs. Technology became more inclusive and caters to more people's needs in today's world, no matter where people are. People can easily show their cultural expressions and share their lives, ultimately reshaping how people understand different cultures and how they're shared throughout the world and help them not die off. Technology throughout the years has been shaped by social norms, ethical standards, and cultural ideas. The development and adaptation of technology is influenced through the values that communities share. A community living off the grid may not desire fancy cell phones or internet at this point in time, unlike someone living in the lifestyle of a New Yorker. As time goes on, new inventions will arise. It is inevitable, but who knows what the future will be like? Only time will tell.